Hi guys, today this video is going to teach you how to adjust the hues or the color of an image and how to adjust the saturation or the intensity of the color within that image. We're going to start off by going to Image and Adjustments, and we're going to go down to Hue Saturation. We can use Command and U as a shortcut if we're on a Mac, or Control and U if we're on a PC. Now, with most Photoshop dialog boxes we have sliders which we can play with. Let's start with the top slider, the hue slider. Move it over to the left or move it over to the right. You'll see we're getting a hue shift. All the different hues in the image are shifting to different colors. This can give us some interesting results. The saturation slider is next. If we move the slider over to the right, we are essentially going into a positive value, so we are adding saturation, we are increasing the intensity of the hues. And if we go over to the left, we are moving into a negative value, we are drawing the color out of the image, and eventually if we go all the way down to -100, we have created a grayscale or a monotone image. There's no saturation of color, we've taken it all out. Now if we go too high, if you go +100, you'll notice that the image starts to degrade in certain areas. We get this pixelation effect. This is where the image has become overly saturated and the pixels have started to degrade. We don't want that, so we're going to bring this right back down for now, back to the default value of 0. Now if at any point you want to reset the values, we can simply press the Alt key, and that will mean that the cancel area here will turn into reset. Click that and we go back to 0. Now the final slider at the bottom is related to the lightness and the darkness of the image. So again, moving over to the positive, we increase the lightness, and if we move over to the negative, we decrease the lightness and we get a darker image. So all these three sliders currently are affecting the entire image. All of the hues, all of the saturation is being affected. What if we only want to affect certain hues? Well, we can press the drop down menu and select a certain channel. Let's select the reds. Now in this image the head of the lure is primarily of a red hue. Let's move the hue slider now with the reds channel selected and see what happens. We'll notice that only the head is affected, as that is the channel which contains the red hues. The saturation now can be used either to add more saturation or reduce or desaturate that area only. Let's use the green channel and increase the saturation. We'll notice that the scales are now being affected as they contain green hues. This is a great way of being very specific and targeting hues which we need to adjust, as opposed to doing a global adjustment. Now if you've got Photoshop CS5, we can also use this little icon here. With this we can physically click on the image itself and move over to the right to increase the saturation in a given target zone or decrease the saturation. So let's increase the head and the red hues. We can now pop down to the green or the yellow hues in this example and move over to the right and increase the intensity of that specific area. What about the background? Let's click and hold and we can see the cyans have been selected, and again we can increase the saturation of that area or decrease the saturation if we wish. So we're specifically targeting certain hues by using either this icon here or by using the drop down menu. Again, if we click on master, all of the adjustments that we apply now will affect the entire image. So that's essentially how we adjust the intensity or the saturation of a hue, and how we actually adjust the color or the hue of an image using the hue saturation adjustment. Now we also have something else which can come in handy. This is called the Colorize tool. Now if we click the Colorize tool, the image loses all of its previous hue and saturation information and is left with a colorized or a tinted image. So in this case we've got the hue of this tint set to 202, which is this bluey color. Let's move this over to the left and find something else. And we can also adjust the saturation as before, and now we've got a colorized or a tinted or a toned image based on one hue range. So this allows us to create a different effect, and it can come in handy if we just want to create an image which has the exact same hue tone across the entire image. However, all the values of light and dark remain. So let's find something that we like. I quite like that. That looks pretty good. And there we go, we've got a colorized image. If we don't want that, we can just uncheck the colorize button and we return back to our normal image. So I'm just going to do a couple of adjustments on this. I'm just going to boost the hue. I'm going to just give the hue a very slight shift here, add a little bit more saturation, and I'm going to OK that. Let's see a before and after. So now we can see that the image has been adjusted simply by using the hue and saturation command.